much. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Are you okay?
Yes, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay. I've got two boys off school. We're changing schools, so they're having to isolate for 2 weeks before they start their new school. So thank God, because I wouldn't have had a bloody clue what was going on there.
Whereabouts are you?
Well, I'm from Newcastle originally.
Yeah.
I'll put my camera there because I'm looking at you, but my camera's here. I'm from Newcastle originally, but I've relocated to North Wales last year. So we've been here since almost a year this month, and we love it. Really like it. But the only problem was the school. So we've figured that out, and they're changing, and it's all going to be great. So what about you? Where are you then?
I'm on the Norfolk-Suffolk border.
Right.
Sort of, yeah, middle of nowhere, really. But, no, I went to uni in Newcastle, so yeah, it's a great part of the world. Yeah.
Recognise the accent then?
Got it immediately.
Because someone said, it was when I'm doing my live videos, someone commented, you go really Geordie when you get passionate. Which is quite often, to be honest. So I think sometimes you try, but I don't try to talk properly, but it comes back, doesn't it, your accent?
Yeah, I get little random bits of Norfolk come out every now and then, and I'm like, oops.
So tell me about what your job role is then, and how you can see us working together. Tell me what.
Let me tell you about the hub and how it came about first. That's probably the easiest starting point. So I started going to the doctor when I was 39 with, you know, the usual fatigue, weight gain, weird periods, didn't know what was going on. And it took about 3.5 years before I actually had a doctor agree with me that it was probably perimenopause. So that was good fun. I actually yesterday was told I was still too young by a doctor. So that was good.
Because I have bits of symptoms, but I've not gone down that route at all. It was interesting. I was just talking to my sister-in-law about it yesterday, and it's the night sweats. I'm just waking up and I'm absolutely dripping. And I don't know whether, and everything else is just as it's always been. There's no other changes for me, but she was, that's what it is. You need to go and get the patches. And I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Like my mom and my nana, they didn't do any HR, you know, they just go. So I'm totally virgin when it comes to any opinion or anything like this. I'm a blank page.
But yeah, so I kind of came home after that and looked it all up, and I found just nothing. Everything I found was about the menopause, not about the time before it.
Okay.
And when you look up about the actual menopause, then the average age to go through it is 51, and it's when your periods have stopped and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, hang on a second. If I was at this point, you know, 3.5 years into feeling completely lost about what was going on, and and I'm nowhere near 50, and my period definitely haven't stopped. And I was like, well, hang on a second, you know, there needs to be something for those of us who are in this bit of it, because then you read a bit further and you discover that that's often when people have the worst symptoms and so on and so forth. And so I just kind of thought, I'll just pull together some experts.
Why not?
And so I kind of did that, and I started with a few people who I already knew in the UK, and then I found some experts in Canada and New Zealand and Australia, and then launched the website, and then started getting experts in the USA, and frankly the whole thing's gone batshit, and now there's like 8,700 women in the group, and I don't really know how it happened.
Really? And we're all sitting here going, how do I do that? Just add value. Keep turning up.
I don't have the answer. A good way to do it is to get an article on the BBC website. That's a bit crazy, but yeah. So my whole thinking with setting up the website and everything was that every single one of us wants to tackle things differently. You know, there's no right or wrong way to go through it. Like you said, your mum and your grandma didn't take HRT, and there's no reason why they should. Nobody has to do anything. Do you know what I mean? It isn't like some kind of medical conditions where actually there's only really one way to manage it or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you've got a thyroid problem, you kind of need thyroxine, you know. but actually there's so many different choices. People can choose to change their lifestyle, change their nutrition. They can choose to I can't even speak, use yoga to manage their symptoms, and so on and so forth. And it depends what symptoms you have, it depends what your lifestyle is, it depends how you like to manage your health. And because of that, I didn't want to set up a thing that was just a one size fits all, and just push HRT or just push natural solutions or whatever, because actually I just want every woman to find the answers that she needs, and it doesn't matter if they're not the right answers for me. It's not my place to judge that. It's my place to provide the platform for everybody to find the answers that are right for them.
Well done. I mean, I'm happy to use this recording if you want to tell me a little bit. I mean, if that's okay with you, because this would be really useful for my group. Often when you stop drinking, I mean, I can remember when I was drinking heavily and going through the whole self-loathing and wanting to quit, waking up with the night sweats and putting it onto the alcohol. So I believed that when I've had that over the last few months, I'm like, oh my God, what's this? I don't drink anymore. So what is this feeling again? This cold sweat when you wake up, and you should be hot, but you don't feel hot, but your body's acting as if you're hot, all of that. So, I mean, would that be one of the symptoms, do you say?
Yeah. So there's 40 odd symptoms, which is depressing.
It's simple.
Oh, sorry.
I suppose a lot of the symptoms could be the same, because the next thing you think is, oh my God, I'm dying, I've got cancer, unless that's just me. That's my brain goes there next. So I've stopped drinking, it's not the alcohol, I'm shriveling up my wombs, packing in on me. Is it that, or am I dying? Or, should I go to the doctors? And then, the kids need you, breakfast dishes, and then you just totally forget about it because it's not really a symptom that's massively affecting your life. And us as women just put up with stuff.
Yeah. But this is the thing.
Pin it on and go, that's what it is.
But it's so frustrating because a lot of people, doctors included, and this is not a dig at doctors ever, it's a dig at the medical training thing. But anyway, that's another story. A lot of people assume that it's in your 50s and it's a few hot flushes.
Yeah. And
that's it.
In the head.
And
my mum said, right, Claire, could you just stab someone in the head for no reason? And I'm like, I don't know if I should admit that. And she's saying, honestly, that's how I knew. And I'm really not looking forward to this, you know what I mean?
But that's the thing. So often some of the early signs are things like increased anxiety or sudden anxiety for somebody who's never experienced anxiety before. Suddenly just think, oh God, I don't dare drive, or my husband's driving too fast all the time, even though he's not, or, just really that horrible feeling of not really being in control anymore. A lot of women lose self-confidence in their ability to do their job, in their ability to remember things, because their memory potentially is going a bit sort of haywire. And I don't know if you've ever had it, but there's a word that you need, but it's just not going to come. All of those but it can all be hormonal, and that's way before you get to like the hot flushes and the obvious symptoms.
It sounds like the same symptoms that I'm promising removing alcohol is going to fix, right? So I mean, have you got a spin on that? How do I separate the two? Then I'm going to say to people, right, stop drinking, and all these situations that I'm telling them, all these symptoms are going to go away, and then the perimenopause is going to pop in, and they're going to go, Claire, this isn't working, you're selling me a lot of rubbish here. So my clients need to know this.
So this is the biggie. The biggie is, if it's hormonal, it will go with your cycle.
Right. Yes. Check. Period. Hot flat, like feeling. Yes.
Exactly. So the one thing I say to everybody all the time, like I'm like a broken record with it, is if you think these things are sort of changing and you're not quite sure why, track it. And if it has a link to your cycle, it's hormonal.
And that means it's okay. We're safe. It's expected.
Yeah, it means Just means you're in your second puberty and your body's going a bit tits up, and you know, fun times ahead.
I like that. So can we get away with lots of bad behaviour then as well if we're in my second puberty? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we can like slam doors and tell people we hate.
And we can't blame the second puberty.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, so that's the big thing, because often women get told they're too young, or it can't possibly be that, or it's depression or whatever, even though they're not feeling depressed, you know. But actually, if you can show that there's a cyclical thing to it. So a lot of women find that in the second half of their cycle, so in the sort of week before they're due on again, even if, let me just give a caveat here, even if they're on a birth control that doesn't necessarily give them a period, having a period isn't necessarily the only way of understanding your cycle. You can track your cycle anyway. That's just a little aside. A lot of women find that in the sort of week before their next cycle starts, that they're tired, they're ratty, they're angry, they're more anxious, they feel more down, they're stabby, you know, all of those.
That's my mum's thing.
No, with one of my colleagues, we do actually refer to it as the stabby phase, because it is.
Good. So I haven't spoken to Jane. My mum's not going to get like taken away. Right?
No.
So
that's a real biggie. Whereas if everything is down to drinking, it'll be sort of constant, assuming you're drinking all the time. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's cyclical, then that's when you see that it's going with your cycle, with your hormones.
So I need to mention this because I say to them, I don't know if I think it might come from AA, where they say halt. So before you choose to drink, are you hungry, angry, lonely, tired? And I need to add, is it your week? Is it your weeklies? Is it your thing? You know, would it be around that time? So even if your periods of, what do you say? Do you say dried up?
Well, no, more if you've got no periods because of birth control, then you still have a cycle. Whereas if your periods have stopped, so you've reached menopause, then you're less in a cycle because your hormones aren't dictating everything.
Okay, but so this makes it even more important for my clients to journal. Journal.
Write it all down.
And compare how you feel now to how you felt this time last month.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do a little shameless plug here. I put that together, which is my little tracking journal. So it's got some pages about what's going on, period, energy levels, yada, yada, yada. And then it's got another bit, which is perimenopause symptoms and what you've eaten and drunk. So that gives people a really good opportunity to see, like somebody in my group the other day identified that avocado was affecting her.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way. And obviously for her, avocado isn't working. But now that she's identified that, she can remove it.
Wow. And how did they get one of them things, them booklets that you just said?
That's on Amazon. I'll ping you over the link after. It's Amazon, and it's got a load of letters and numbers, so I'm not going to remember.
I need to have a diary or a journal with my logo stuck on the front, with all of these boxes that people can tick where they're at in the cycle. And it's coming, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well, no, that was the
in the meantime, use this definitely, and then I'm going to buy one, and I'm going to track it, and I'm going to use it, and we might even pull it together and put, you know, a space. That would be amazing, wouldn't it, to do a joint venture where we could get them printed and flog them, because people need somewhere. I mean, I'm always buying these journals. I spend a fortune on them, lovely pretty ones for this and that, and you know. I should have them with the logo on.
Yeah, that's why I did it. You know, I had a bit of spare time in lockdown, so I just put a journal tracker onto Amazon because.
Go get in, and that's the type of thing that we need to be doing. And how good is that to pull together? You know, so it's just there, and people can track it, and it's nice, and you've got a nice pen, and
exactly. But then also you've got something you can take to your doctor and go, look, this is what's going on. I can see that there are links. So either you can take it to your doctor, or it just gives you the chance. Because I know, and I found this, but I know lots and lots of women find this, when things start sort of changing as your hormones change,
I
you, or
need
are
my
you...
husband to watch this. He needs to watch this. Have you got a group of husbands to watch this?
Not yet. Not yet, one day. But as you start to track it, you start to take back that control, because you start to identify when you're going to feel okay, when you're going to feel crap, when really people should just keep out of your way, and when you're a nice person, and all of those things. And so even if you're not going to go to the doctor, it just gives you back that sort of control of going, okay. But then also, if you're tracking the food and drink that you're having, you can start to see, you know, you might notice that sugary things give you heartburn. I don't know. Or you might notice that certain drinks, whether they're alcoholic or soft drinks, might make you sleep less well. Or, you know, some people find that they can't accommodate coffee as well as they used to. You know, some people find that actually they have to have their last coffee before midday if they want to get any sleep, whereas previously they could carry on having coffee until 9 o'clock at night. And there's no right or wrong, but it's putting the control back to the woman to learn what her body's telling her.
And it's self-care, it's mindfulness. And, you know, we'll sit there and you know exactly how many sugars he has in his tea and this, that, and the other, and what he's like when he has one too many. And I did this, I focused so much on, if only that would change.
Exactly.
Until you change yours, really get to know who you are. And the first way is by writing it down. And I'm afraid I'm missing out on the sale here, like, because I haven't, this is a lesson to any businesswoman out there, get it done. So I'm going to pull you in and I'm going to joint venture for our journal. It's going to be evergreen, so it doesn't have to say 2021, so we can sell it in March.
This is evergreen. This is forever. This has there's no dates in it.
All right.
I didn't want to tie the whole thing with 2020 on it.
If you promise to joint venture with me and make a journal where we can track our drinking and track our cycle. And I think the moon, what's about this is the moon connected here, because I don't know if you've seen, like, I can't move around. The beach is there, right? I'm so lucky. We live right on the beach. And the sun comes up in my bedroom window, the moon, and I feel it. And, you know, I know that people are this woo-woo, and I never used to be woo-woo at all. I can tell, I can tell, like, the tide coming in and out and the moon, and it affects you. And it affects your cycle as well. So can you tell me a little bit about that, so I'm not going crazy? I'm not werewolf.
But that's one thing that some people encourage in terms of, like, tracking your cycle. If you don't have a standard cycle, is to start with the moon cycle.
Wow.
So start tracking at the new moon and just see where you are in terms of the moon cycle. You'll probably find that your, like, hormonal cycle will also give you a sort of information around that as well, but that's as good a starting point. So if you don't have periods because of birth control or because you've gone through menopause, then using the lunar cycle is every bit as good a way of starting, you know, as a starting point of where you're tracking. Okay, new moon today, right? I'm gonna say that is day one. Start from day one at the new moon and go from there, and it'll still give you a lot of information. You might find, like, if you imagine sort of a clock face of the lunar cycle, you might find that with your hormonal cycle, you're kind of you actually start at 1/4 or whatever. Do you see what I mean? But
and again, if you're watching this and you're one of my newer clients or newer followers, you know, just get through each day, because this is something that I could never ever have been organized enough to do when I was drinking. But it just takes, once you sort that out, it takes you to another level of awareness of yourself. So this is so much more about quitting drinking. Quitting drinking gives you the energy and the space and the time and the motivation to do all this, so you get to know yourself, isn't it? So don't be panicking watching this thinking, oh my God, I can't do that. I don't even know where my pen is and my notebook. That's normal. That's totally normal.
Unless you're a complete stationery freak like me, in which case your entire desk is littered with pens and journals and notebooks.
And sometimes we have the best will in the world, but I didn't want anybody looking and thinking, oh my God, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Just do what works for you, but you can go as deep with this as you want, right? You can.
Exactly. But that's the thing. like there's loads of apps as well for tracking your cycle. There's loads of apps that you can just download onto your phone, and literally each day you just jot in energy levels and mood.
Make it easy.
For example,
something like that would be so much easier.
Exactly. Just to, you know, it's a question of deciding what you individually want to track. So, you know, if it's really your mood that's changing as things change, then track your mood. You know, if for me it was energy levels, I started tracking for my energy levels so that I could start to see if the fatigue was going with my cycle. It was just a little, like, just giving the game. It was, and I literally tracked in a I'm so sad, I'm such a geek. I tracked in an app, and then because in the app I couldn't pull out all the data unless I upgraded, and I'm a complete cheapskate and I don't believe in upgrading. I put all of the data into a spreadsheet so that I could make graphs.
But why not? Why the hell not? This is about you. This is about you learning who you are and how you tick. That's brilliant. Don't be ashamed of doing that. I think that's brilliant.
But then that gives you the information to talk to the doctor with, or to talk to whatever practitioner, or to just understand for yourself what's going on.
And then you're not worried about this, you know, am I going crazy? Is this because mental health is so much in the news? You think, oh my God, maybe it's that. And I'm sure if you went to the doctor and presented yourself and you've said, oh, this is what I think, you know, coronavirus, I'm stressed, I'm just feeling weird, you'll be on medication for the wrong thing.
100%. I mean, I had one of the doctors that I saw in the sort of 3.5 years of trying to work out what was going on, because I this was before I'd understood that tracking was my superpower. I'd just go in with like a post-it note with some words on it and go, I feel like this, you know. One of the doctors, this is laughable with hindsight, really wasn't funny at the time. She reached into the drawer, she picked out the well-being leaflet, and she turned to me and she went, you're stressed, you can self-refer, and went back to her computer. Oh, okay, I'm stressed. So self-referred, like a good girl. And what I learnt on the, again, this is just laughable, sorry. What I learnt on the stress webinars that I had to go to is that to manage stress, you should exercise more. I was training for an Ironman triathlon. I couldn't train more. And you should sleep better.
That was it. No mention, no. I know.
And, you know, I've found that when you're stressed and you're not sleeping well, being told to sleep better is really helpful.
I know, but do you not think, I was just talking to my brother earlier today, and he's on, you know, it's weird for me because I'm in Wales. We're going into the second week, whatever, on Friday. Won't affect my life. My life is this, working with online. So I don't go out to work. It doesn't affect my life that much. I don't want to go to the pub. So it's a win for me, really. I'm not bothered. And we were talking, and he, you know, I've lost my thread what we're talking about there, about the stress and how people are dealing with things. It's how people deal with things and whether or not they'll ask for help. And often it's really, what I'm about is promoting the idea that you're responsible for your own research. And so you've done it. And often we just go and knock on the door of these experts and think that they should know the answer. You know, they should know the answer to what's going on for you and your body, but you know better than anyone.
And this is the thing, you know, when you think about it, when you go to the doctor or whoever, you have 10 minutes. You know, and if you're presenting going, I don't know, I just feel rubbish, they can't know. And this again, you know, if you've been tracking and you've got back on, you've taken back control of what's going on, insofar as you've got more of an understanding of your own body, you're better able to go in there and go, right, this is what's happening. I need to help with this, you know.
I know that something's not right. And I've done this, and this is whatever. Yeah, it's like and
I'd like to.
You do the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't just go, oh no, there's something wrong. You'd be like, well, it's making a noise here, and this is odd, you know.
Uphill, that doesn't happen, but I've tried going downhill, and some, you know.
Exactly.
Taking ownership, the whole coronavirus, of being in control of their own health, and instead of this whole putting the focus on the test, I need a test. What does the test say? Just concentrate on eating healthy, looking after yourself, limiting how much poison you're pouring into your body. Don't watch the news.
Yeah, well, that's the worst poison you can pour into your body at the minute.
But then you don't know where the rules. There should be a way that you just. Well, I'm sure there is. Actually, I don't want to know. I'm sure there is a way you can get the rules without watching the news.
Probably, but I don't know.
I don't want to know.
But no, I'm just quickly gonna, because I'm on a bit of a tracking mission here.
And I've got a few minutes and then I've got another call.
No. Anybody watching this, if you have daughters, get them tracking young.
Yes, good advice.
That is their superpower. I wish I had known in my late teens, early 20s that I could actually not try to be male in the world, that actually being female was my superpower, and that my cycle was to be embraced, not to be shunned. So yeah. And
how would you give us some tips? How would you suggest they could do that then, apart from thinking, right, well, I need my sanitary protection on the 3rd of the month or something? How could, you know, these lovely ideas of journals or just a nice, well, how
even,
would you,
even just an app? So let's say someone's watching and they've got.
Would you be able to send me a couple of links to apps? Yeah. And I'll put that on as well. That'll be.
Yeah, of course I will. But I mean, you know, there's loads of apps, and Fitbit have one, and Garmin have one, and you know, so a lot of the smartwatches already have this data that you can track it in the back end. I just think for younger women, knowing in advance, whether it's for wanting to get pregnant, whether it's for wanting to know when they're going to be full of beans and when they're going to feel frankly quite rubbish, whatever the reason is, starting to understand your body from when you're quite young gives you so much power. And then when things start to change, you already know that they're changing. You're not in that lost feeling of like, whoa, you're just, okay, this is starting to change. This is weird. I'm maybe 35 and things are a bit different to how they were when I was 30. Because I've been keeping an eye on it, I can tell you that because I understand, you know, exactly the same. Going back to the car analogy, you just kind of, when you get in the car, if something feels weird, you know that it feels weird, and because you know what it should feel like. And somehow for our own bodies, we don't do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you know, I
think we do, but we don't listen. The voice comes up.
Sorry, that's it. You don't listen.
The nudge comes up and the nip, but then we ignore it, or we get distracted by someone else had that nip and it was fine. So they just
But you know, I have too many dogs, and I always notice if there's something a little bit amiss with one of them, immediately notice and advocate for them and all the rest. But we don't do it for ourselves.
Do it for yourself. Yeah, that's what we're promoting, isn't it? For women to do that for themselves, to put themselves first, and not to feel that that's selfish. It's actually selfless, isn't it? You actually, and this whole idea of loving yourself, why not? Of course. Well, what a lovely way to end, a lovely call. Yeah, let's just use this, shouldn't we, Emily? Yeah. Should we just use this?
Perfect.
Do it. Perfect. Brilliant.
Awesome. I will send you over those links.
Thank you, my dear. And let's speak again.
Lovely.
Okay. You take care. I'll send you the video. Bye.
Bye.